Welcome to another episode here on A New Life in France. We're continuing with our festive theme. Now, a number of you really enjoyed what we featured in terms of what is Christmas in France, and we took through that, and you were very complimentary about what we did. We had thousands and thousands of views, which is amazing. So what's a few people asked though is, what about New Year? So we thought, let's tell you about New Year here in France, what happens, and particularly one or two little things that happen. And for myself being here in France, I've always wondered what they were, so I'm going to share them with you as well. So New Year, probably like many places around the world, is a big celebration, and in France it's a huge celebration as well. Now the French, just as they do with Christmas, Christmas Eve leading into Christmas Day is a big thing. And in France, New Year's Eve going into New Year's Day is no different. So the celebration itself is called Le Réveillon. So Le Réveillon. And in terms of Le Réveillon, it is actually translated to the awakening. So it's the start. And the reason it's the awakening is because the celebration goes from New Year's Eve into New Year's Day. So New Year's Day is the awakening. So it's the awakening. It's the start of a new year, and that's what it's called. Now, the French typically will celebrate that with a meal. And of course, being France and French, it's not just a meal. It is a huge meal, and it's really focused about the delicacies that we all know France for. So it revolves around snails and oysters and foie gras and game and amazing cheeses, and then also going into those fantastic desserts they had, also including that Yule log that I've spoken about before. And of course it's going to be accompanied by amazing and fantastic wines. And it is a celebration of bringing everybody together. Now that will be family and friends will come together, just families on their own, or you'll go out to really nice restaurants and enjoy that beautiful food as well. And that will be celebrated all across France. And when we start to look at some of those things that actually happen, then are there fireworks is one of the questions. Yes, there are. Now, we will see that Paris is always featuring on the television with amazing fireworks at New Year. And that is the same. And you'll also get it in some of the bigger towns and cities as well. Also, the celebrations you get as well is it's very traditional at midnight to kiss the person next to you. Now, be that your loved one or a friend. In France, it's exactly the same. Male or female, you'll get your 2 kisses on your cheeks, either side. That will come in as well. But also, many of you are used to mistletoe being a Christmas thing. In France, mistletoe is a New Year's thing. So you will kiss under the mistletoe, but it's very much a New Year's thing, not a Christmas thing. What you will also have as well is you have parades. Now, one of the most famous parades actually is around Paris, and it will go from Chantilly, which is well known for its cream, and it's also really well known for its racecourse, and that's on the outskirts of Paris. And the parade then will go from Chantilly from New Year's Eve, and it will finish under the Eiffel Tower on New Year's Day. And that's an amazing parade for you to be able to go and see if you are in and around Paris. There will be other celebrations across France that will follow a similar theme, and parades are quite a big thing. Not only just for New Year's Eve going into New Year's Day, but also just on New Year's Day as well. What you also will find, and you will also see around this time about what's going on, you will also see swimming. Now, swimming is, we see a lot of swimming around the world when people want to celebrate that new year as well. France is no different. You will see people swimming in the lakes and the rivers and also the seas as well. Now, the beach, Le Saint-Malo in Dunkirk, is really famous for that, and that's definitely worth looking at and seeing. But also there will be probably other people swimming wherever you are in France. So it's not uncommon to see that going on as well. What you also get in terms of that are cards. The French are not that big on Christmas cards, where those of us maybe from the UK or from the USA, we're really familiar with giving Christmas cards. The French are not big on Christmas cards. What they are big on is New Year cards. So don't be surprised if your neighbours give you a New Year's card, and that's a really big thing in here in France. And it's very much wishing you and your family the very best for the coming year, or the new year as it's just started. But don't be surprised if your neighbours don't give you a Christmas card, but they will potentially give you a New Year's card. So also don't be afraid though. You can give a Christmas card, of course you can, but you can also give a New Year's card as well, and that's much more traditional here in France. What you will also get, and it is a New Year's celebration and it's part of New Year, you also get le très, and with that, that's tipping. Now, typically that won't actually happen on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. What you are likely to have is potentially somebody from the fire services, so from the pompiers. Now in France, the pompiers are not just the fire, they are also the emergency as well, and sometimes act in terms of that kind of paramedic stage as well. Now don't be surprised to have them on your doorstep leading up to Christmas, and they will have a calendar. And typically you will give a tip for that calendar. Typically maybe 5 or 10 euros, it's really up to you. But that is a tip, and that is part of the New Year celebrations. You will also find the same as well, your post person, your postie, so the person from La Poste who delivers your post will also probably look to give you a calendar as well in terms of a tip that you will give. So always make sure you've got a bit of change in the house for these things to happen. Most commonly, pompier and also the post. But also as well, remember to think about your waste service as well. They might well do that as well. But just be prepared for that coming in as well. It's very common, but it is part of that celebration of New Year. So New Year is a big thing in France, and they really take it on board. And it also has a name. Now it's called Saint Sylvester, and it's Saint Sylvester, so Saint Sylvester. Now he was a pope in around the 300s before Christ. He was a pope, and actually it has nothing to do with New Year. It just happens that he is the saint on that day. If you ever get a calendar here in France, it will have every single saint for every single day, and there are 366. So whenever you get a leap year, there is also a day there for a saint as well. So that's why it's called also the celebration of Saint Sylvester in terms of New Year as well. So New Year is fantastic. Really enjoy it, embrace it. Also look at some of those quirky things and be able to do that as well and get involved, but also understand just those little things about calendars, giving cards, and also mistletoe as well. So really hope you've enjoyed this what happens at New Year in France, and I hope it's just given you a little bit more of an insight, a little bit more knowledge to share with your friends, but also to understand how your French neighbours and French friends work as well. And it just helps you in terms of that integration to understand how it all works, but also what's for sale in the supermarkets leading up to New Year, and that also makes sense in terms of everything that is there. Really hope you've enjoyed probably this second one of a festive celebration, and do remember to go back a few episodes and you can see what happens on Christmas here in France as well. Remember, please subscribe, press that subscribe button down below. Tune in every week. We've got episodes on a Monday, a Wednesday and a Friday most of the time, and our Friday ones is that learning French, which is amazing, and so many of you really bought into that. We've had some great episodes, so go into that as well. It just really helps you into that one. And of course there's the special offers of French lessons as well. What you will also find now is so much more content on our website, anewlifeinfrance.com, where we share as much as we can with you about traditions, about things like visas, getting bank accounts, living here, everything that you have to do. It is there, and we are here to help you to be able to look at what those things are. And of course we have our concierge service as well, which is helping you either if you're here in France and you need a little hand with something along the way, or you're actually making that big move to France and you want somebody to help you every single step of the way. Look forward to seeing you on our next episode, and each week we're just bringing you something different.